Welcome to the March update of the Willoughby Line, New Haven. I'm going to show you around layout, show you what I've been working on since the last update. Been working on a bunch of little projects and I'm trying to pull a lot of things together. So hope you enjoy this update and see you in a minute. First thing I'll show you is I redid this phone booth when I had gotten it. The glue I was using was just the CA, which I should have remembered from when I was a kid, that it fogs clear plastic. So I had to redo it. I was using this stuff, which I love, but not for clear plastic. So I used the canopy glue that I have, which I can find here. So I used this canopy glue, and it doesn't fog up or cloud the clear plastic. And I also weathered a bunch of my crossings, and I can show you what those look like on the actual layout. So these are the rail crossings that I added. I've been weathering them. They probably could still use some powder, but at least, you know, there's a little bit more safety on the railroad now. So I've got them on both ends on that siding and on both ends of this. And walking around, I put them here as well on the inside section of my layout, and over here as well. I tried to vary them a little bit. Some I made the posts wooden and some I left white. The white, it looks almost like a translucent white, which I'm not really fond of. I think they could use a little bit more weathering. Probably another wash and then some powder. So those need some more work. Oh, and then I added one over here too, which I'm thinking might be a little too high, I'm not sure. But it works pretty decent with this scene, which I've been working on. I forgot actually this was holding this guy up. I can move that. So I've been working on this scene. I think I'm gonna get another building for the left side of the road. I also got some fencing, which is, I just got in the mail the other day. I got more of the Walters wood fencing, which I like. I have some of it over here, which has been there for a while, and over here, which has been there for a while. And I really like the way that fencing came out. It's all the same stuff. I was gonna buy the Tiki train group, but I kind of did a quick measurement and cost analysis, and I think I get more inches of fencing for less price going with the Walters. So the most obvious or largest project that I've been working on has been working on these building flats from photos that I've worked on in Photoshop and mounted on mat board. This is one that I've been working on. I think it fits pretty well in this section here. That was the last actual background building kit that I had built. And this one was, it's a combination of two buildings. I forget where I got the bottom one from. The top section is actually from Shelton. I had changed in Photoshop the name to Serling after Rod Serling from the Twilight Zone. I photoshopped the two together. The bottom of the top building didn't have enough detail in it to use for this section, so I photoshopped the bottom section, and it works pretty well. It seems pretty seamless to my eye, and it fits in here. And I like the fact that the top building, the self-storage Conti building there, is actually near where I lived for a while in Shelton, right down the road from the building I lived in for a while, and I grew up in Shelton, so it's kind of cool to actually have something that you can drive by and still see in Shelton. That's on my layout. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Moving along, this is another composite that I worked on in Photoshop, the two buildings in the background. The top one, I think I don't remember, I got that from the internet somewhere. And the bottom one, again, that's down the other side of the canal street that I lived on in Shelton. So again, another Shelton tribute. And then moving down, I forget where I got that one, but that's just, you know, to add some interest on the top. I think I need some other buildings that kind of stick up along, because it's a little bit too straight across, especially those two background kit buildings. So I need to work on that a little bit. So this was one that I had done and put that large unit on top of the roof there on that building, which I just recently completed. And then this is another section. It is a little odd because it doesn't, it kind of, the way the position is, the road here doesn't go anywhere. It just hits that building. You know, maybe it goes behind that one, I'm not really sure, but that's something I'm meaning to figure out. And then I had put this one as well behind there. So I think the scale of this one is maybe a little too big, and it kind of makes the road to nowhere go nowhere from nowhere. But I like the way it looks, you know, if you step back. So that's kind of been the biggest project, because it adds a lot. It ties all the background kits that I had, which is only 4.5. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this one, which doesn't really fit, but I'm gonna put the roof on that eventually. So the background flats kind of tie the whole yard together. So I'm pretty pleased with the way that came out. So that was the biggest project, and I've got a few more little ones to show you. So we'll be back in a second to show you those. The other little project I had worked on, hopefully I'm done with it, I'm not sure, I have some more testing to do, is this turnout. It's hard to tell on with the camera, but it feels like it's still a little uneven, but I didn't have, for some reason, rail joiners on this section here. So I had to put those on. I kept having stall outs, and then I was getting derailments while I was testing the stall outs issue. I had a bunch of shims under on the right side here, and I took all that out, cleaned it out, tried to relay the track or the turnout, sanded down some of the road bed, took some of it out in this section here on the left. So I think it's better now, but I don't want to ballast it until I do a bunch more testing and just kind of give it more time to settle and work itself out. See what else I need to do, if anything. So finally got the rail joiners in. It should be much smoother now. I just still feel like it's a little uneven, and it's, you know, Atlas turnout. So ideally I would like to replace all these turnouts with Picos, but cost is preventative at this point. So they function, they're remote, and I don't have any issues on the main line section here, but I was having some issues here, and I think that's just poor craftsmanship on my part. You can see the terrain comes right down into the roadbed, and I think I probably didn't clean and level that whole section out before I put that roadbed in, as this was a newer section of track. So I think that was kind of my own fault, and it eventually caught up to me. So hopefully I fixed it, but time will tell. So I'm gonna do some more testing, running more locomotives, and hopefully that'll be it, and then I can ballast and say this section's done. I still need to ballast this inside section here. I was having major derailments right over in this section here where there's no sleepers. I believe it's pretty good. I've been doing a lot of operations, and it hasn't given me one issue, so I will probably tackle that soon and ballast that. And I think that's been all for track work. A lot of the little projects I've been working on have been more scenery based. So let me show you a couple more of those. One thing I had tried was I watched a video on making puff trees, and I honestly don't like the way they look. They look good on layouts that I see, you know, in magazines and online. but I think for mine, it's just not going to work for me. But I wanted to try the technique, and I came up with one where, I don't know if I've seen it. I know I've seen a couple online where they dip them in glue, the black batting material, which this is, which was honestly too dark, so I spray painted the batting first. I've got a bunch of spray stuff over here. I think I did a combination of some of, that's my spray mount. I think I did it Spanish moss and a little bit of vintage gray on top to lighten it. Still very dark. But I then used my spray adhesive, sprayed them, and then dropped them into a little can with super leaf, and basically shake and bake, shook it, and that worked really well. So they came out pretty good. They might be a little too dense of material, but you know, you can continue to vary the colors and add little things on top to kind of vary it. So that technique of dropping them in after spray mounted worked pretty well. I didn't like the idea of dripping wet glue into something like this, or shaking this over it onto something else, because the glue just gets everywhere. I liked the spray mount technique, so that worked, but they don't really work on my layout anywhere. So I can show you, I put some random ones in places to see if they worked, and they didn't really work. This just looks too uniformly round, but it's going to stay there for now until I either put it in the back storage area or move it somewhere else. And then I did use these two, which are a little bit smaller, so they work a little bit better to scale as large shrubs, and they're a little bit more regular. So I like actually the way these come out. So I think I will do some more smaller puff trees and make them just as shrubs. There's actually this one here, which I added some super leaf on top of Woodland Scenic's coarse turf. And I actually like the way that came out. So I was experimenting with the puff tree idea, and I just like the way the super trees look better on this mountainside. So I need to obviously add a lot more foliage on the hill in the background here. So that's, you know, something down the road. And I think I've added a few other super trees in this section here, and on that back section there a little bit more. So that was one little thing that I had been working on. And then the next biggest project has been my stream or riverbed. Got the airbrush out the other night and finished putting the turf down, or the rock and gravel and dirt. It's actually real dirt from my yard that I sifted, and then airbrushed it. And I'm not sure if I'm sold on the color yet. Still have a little bit more research to do on that. I might make the middle a little bit darker, and then I've been looking at different techniques for the actual water, and I'm kind of liking, instead of the Envirotex, which I used as a kid, which I really liked, I think I want it to be a little bit more or less smooth. So I think the Envirotex is going to be a little too smooth for this stream or riverbed. So I'm looking at other things using the Mod Podge gloss and water effects. I think Woodland Scenics maybe. I'm not sure. I can't remember all the different product, but there's other product to make more kind of rapid type water effects. So I think I'm going to go with that as opposed to the Envirotex. So that's going to be the next big project, because once that's done, that's going to be a huge addition to the layout, especially since it runs basically through the middle of the entire table. So that's something to look out for in future updates. And then I've been working on, there's another puff tree there. And actually there's two other puff trees here. You can see I got a little too heavy-handed with the spray mount on that one, or those two. You can see it's a little gray still. And that puff tree I think was up there with the other two, but it fell. And I've been working on this building section. So let me take you over to the workbench and show you what I've been doing with that. So before I started this update, and which I'm going to continue after. I've been working on this section of sidewalk. I just removed a large section. I just cut this piece out, and the idea is that my block will sit on here like it was, but I can glue everything down so it's one piece, and glue the other little things that I have for their trash cans and little city details. And my phone booth goes, it was on this side here. So I'll have this glued down so the sidewalk and the buildings will all be one piece. And I wanted to remove that back section so that when I flip it over, I have access to the underneath of everything, because before it was all, the underneath was all blocked. So if I glued it, I wouldn't be able to access the inside to, work on windows and if I want to do lighting down the road. So I removed that section so I have access. So I can just pick the whole piece up, and I'll have all this access under here to get up inside the building. So I've been working on that. And I think that's it for now. So stay tuned for next month's update, and we'll show some trains running.